Well, I was on vacation last week down the Jersey Shore, the good part, no Snooki sightings. And as I'm on the beach playing with my two young daughters, a family member comes up to me looking excited. He says, "Hey, did you hear the news? The Muslim Brotherhood guy in Egypt, Morsi, he got kicked out. He's gone. The army's in charge now." And there goes my vacation. Look, I live and breathe this stuff. My new book about the Muslim Brotherhood comes out next Monday, July 15th. It's called The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy. So, as you might imagine, I'm all over this issue. But what struck me during my vacation as all of this was unfolding in Egypt was that friends and family members who aren't political junkies were very interested in what was happening. I spent a good part of my week answering questions about Egypt and about everything that's going on right now in the Middle East. Look, when you have 3 million people in the streets of Cairo, 3 million, the largest demonstration in human history, that should be enough to make anyone stand up and take notice that something massive is happening. Or so you would think. A lot of Americans still seem to believe that what happens over there stays over there. Hey, Honey Boo Boo is on the tube and Kim Kardashian is getting married. In a way, I guess I can't totally blame them. They're just following the example of our elected leadership. As Egypt was in the middle of an historic upheaval last week, President Obama was seen on the golf course at Camp David. And his Secretary of State, John Kerry, the man who's supposed to be the driving force behind our foreign policy, was out on his yacht. There they are, ladies and gentlemen, your crack foreign policy team. Don't you feel safer knowing they're on the case? These are the same folks who helped to create this whole violent mess in Egypt by backing the Muslim Brotherhood at every turn. Now, Egypt is on fire, and it's only going to get worse. Civil war is a real possibility. And remember, this is the most populous and most influential Arab nation, the recipient of billions in U.S. aid. This isn't Somalia or Yemen, some medieval backwater. If Egypt becomes a failed state, which it is this close to becoming right now, the whole world is going to feel it. That's one reason why you, over here, need to care about what happens over there. Events in Egypt are spiraling out of control very quickly, and that could create a few potentially nasty consequences for America. The Muslim Brotherhood waited 84 years to gain power. They had it finally. Sharia law was about to be enforced. Women were going to be covered from head to toe. Christians were in the crosshairs. And war with the hated Jews loomed. All of the Brotherhood's sick dreams were about to be realized, and with the full backing of the United States to boot. And then it was all wrenched away from them, suddenly and violently, after just 1 year in power. Do you really think the Brotherhood is just going to go quietly now and accept this turn of events? Folks, this is the granddaddy of them all when it comes to Islamic terrorist groups. They started the entire modern Islamic jihadist movement. The Brotherhood spawned Al-Qaeda. I outline in my new book how Osama bin Laden, Ayman al-Zawahiri, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, every major Al-Qaeda figure you can think of belonged to the Muslim Brotherhood before they joined Al-Qaeda. That's no coincidence. The Brotherhood is the gateway drug for jihad, the ideological driving force behind all of the terrorist madness you see today. Oh, and did I mention that Hamas is the Brotherhood's Palestinian wing? And is it surprising that the Boston bombers attended a mosque controlled by a group that federal prosecutors say is an arm of the Muslim Brotherhood in America? This is a fact. Without the spread of Muslim Brotherhood ideology of conquering the world for Allah, killing the infidel, and reestablishing a caliphate, 9/11 would have never happened. I repeat, if the Muslim Brotherhood had never been created in Egypt, back in 1928. 9/11 would have never happened. There would be no war on terror. You'd even be able to keep your shoes on at the airport. Every single al-Qaeda leader worth his suicide belt was inspired by the teachings and writings of Muslim Brotherhood ideologues like Hassan al-Banna and especially Sayyid Qutb. Remember that name. They laid the groundwork, starting with the Brotherhood's official motto: Allah is our objective. The Prophet is our leader. The Quran is our law. Jihad is our way. Dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope. Now, pay particular attention to those last two lines. Jihad, military conquest, is our way. Dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope. Folks, they ain't going quietly. That's very bad news for us for a few reasons. The last time the Brotherhood was in this situation in the late 1940s and the 1950s, they carried out a wave of terrorism across Egypt and assassinated Egyptian leaders. Finally, they were crushed by Nasser and banned. But like jihadi vampires, they wouldn't go away. Their backs are up against the wall now once again. Just today it was announced that there is an arrest warrant for the Brotherhood's supreme leader, Mohammed Badi. Morsi and other Brotherhood leaders are under house arrest, and the Egyptian military has killed dozens of Brotherhood supporters over the past week alone. Look for the Brotherhood and its allies to respond to all of this with terrorism and violence. Bet on it. And folks, if they target the Suez Canal with terror attacks and shut it down, oil prices will go through the roof. That affects you. All of that Middle Eastern oil travels through the Suez before reaching Europe. Do you think the Brotherhood and its allies are unaware of this? And how about the possibility of the Brothers and other Islamist groups provoking a military confrontation with Israel? Jihadists are launching attacks out of Egypt's Sinai Peninsula against Israel practically every day now. If the Egyptian military can't control them, Israel will eventually have to take action to defend its borders. But it's not just the Islamists who could start a war with the hated Zionist entity. Writing in the Tablet magazine last week, respected Middle East analyst Lee Smith said the Egyptian army has only one card left to play. Egypt may be headed to war with Israel in the not-too-distant future. But as the country implodes, war has become the easy way out. Smith wrote, a short war today precipitated by a border incident in Sinai or a missile gone awry in the Gaza Strip, and concluded before the military runs out of the ammunition that Washington will surely not resupply, will reunify the country and earn Egypt money from an international community eager to broker peace. Taking up arms against Israel will also return Egypt to its former place of prominence in an Arab world that is adrift in a sea of blood. Ask yourself, what would a new Middle East war do to oil prices and the global economy? It's coming. The only question is whether Egypt, Syria, or Iranian nukes will be the trigger. What also could be coming is Egypt in total collapse, with people literally starving. That's how bad the Egyptian economy is right now. A civil war, the kind the Islamists want to provoke, would be a death knell. And who would be left to pay the bills to help try to lift Egypt out of total chaos and collapse? That's right. You and me, American taxpayers. And by the way, speaking of America, just a little reminder, the Muslim Brotherhood is here in your backyard. As we've seen on TheBlazeTV and the groundbreaking documentaries, The Project and Rumors of War 3, the Brotherhood has devised plans to destroy America from within. Our government knows about these plans, Yet, Brotherhood supporters are guests in the White House, advising the Obama administration on its counterterrorism and Middle East policies. In my new book, I call them terrorists in suits. I've interviewed them around the world, face to face. They are slick, well-educated, well-spoken, and well-dressed. They are dangerous. Right now, because of what happened to Morsi, they're also angry. We saw hundreds of Morsi supporters take to the streets in Chicago earlier this week to call for Morsi's return as president. Folks, you need to know about this group, and not the mainstream media version. Pick up my book, The Brotherhood, when it comes out on July 15th. Pick it up. And you know, it gives me no pleasure to deliver tough news and unpleasant facts. But if you're watching The Blaze, I'm pretty sure you'd rather know what's coming than not know. And you're going to be just fine as a result. When we come back, the experts weigh in.